So I'm just going to tell you guys a little bit about what we're doing here today. Our sponsor for our spring program is the Youth Peace Center. And thankfully, the state of Illinois, our Senator Emil Jones III, and other legislators want to make sure that we have programs like this in our community, because we know that our community needs help and we need help, right? So because of this, we've been talking a lot about the issue of peace and how it affects us, how it affects our community, and so forth. So I just want to make sure that we're all on one accord, because a lot of people think peace is just about gun violence, but it's not just about gun violence, is it? That affects us, and there are other types of violence that affect us, and once we're in the midst of violence, or once our peace is disrupted by any number of things that we all feel is important. So once that happens, then a lot of other things happen. That's why here at Impact Family Center, we're really happy that not only do we teach you media, production, learning that you have a voice and your voice matters, we have mental health, right, Mr. J?
Yes.
And so our mental health program is called the Big Brother J program, right? And he came up with that name probably because he stands, what, 6'7"? 6'7". So we know it's the Big Brother J program. But Mr. J, could you just say a little bit about why mental health is important when we're looking at, okay, can y'all pan to, we're about to talk to him. So you're gonna move your cameras. We're still training, but would you talk a little bit about mental health and why it's important when we're looking at peace from the big picture? Because peace affects us as individuals, our communities, our families, and there's a lot of different tributaries that connect to peace.
Well, yeah, I believe that mental health is important. First, I want to say that peace can be achieved if we apply the effort. Unfortunately, in our community, we have to also apply resources, be it monetary or be it by our own personage, because a lot of these programs are not funded. And the reason why mental health is important in our community is because we are under a lot of situational pressures, we're under a lot of violent pressures, a lot of hunger pressures, economic. I mean, we're fighting every systemic pressure that one could possibly face, and yet we're still trying to make a way and trying to better ourselves in any way that we could, and trying to bring out our individual talents. It's hard to do that when you're under so much pressure and so much adversary throughout our own community in which we pay taxes, in which we live. And so we have to constantly gauge one another, strengthen one another, and just try to push forward on a daily basis. So I came up with the Big Brother program, whereas I counsel from a non-traditional means, which means I allow myself to be open to any and everything on your level. So we talk how we would normally talk in the street, but it's clear that we all need to advocate for mental health and for the strengthening of that.
Right. And I'll probably be the first to say, from a journalist's perspective, when I watch what's going on in the news, when I watch how things are happening, we had an 18-year-old and a 19-year-old do mass shooting. They killed multiple people, right? I am a proponent for after-school programs and involved teachers, because when you're in an after-school program, am I in your business a lot?
No.
I'm not in your business?
Yes.
I'm in your business a lot because when I want to ask you questions, I want to know what's going on with you. I want to know if you have a ticking time bomb. We're listening, we're watching. And I believe that when you have involved and interactive programs like this one, like the others that are part of the Youth Peace Center's effort to make sure that programming and these resources are throughout our area, I think that it is important that this exists and more money goes into that. Because I believe that when we're here and you could talk to us, or we're watching and we see that something is going on with you, we then know how to deal with that, whether getting Mr. J involved or whether just realizing that you need some resources at home or your family or someone's ill at home or someone needs a job. So that's why I think community organizations and the smaller community organizations really get into the groove of what's going on in our community, because while we have the larger ones, it's very seldom that you'll see a larger organization. They have other employees and things like that, but you're not going to always be able to reach and call and text or whatever. How many people have had to call or text me at any time of the day, night, or early in the morning to show me a basket to hand out the fruits and vegetables in? I got a text at 6 in the morning from Yasin because he wants us to have these special baskets to give our fruit from our and vegetables from our peace garden. So you all know that this is important to you, and we want to do more of this and make sure that people understand what's going on and why this is vital. So I'm going to let you guys go on and do your toss. I'm tossing you all, and you all can do your regular opening, and we're just going to start talking about some issues of peace and things that bother us and things that we want to change.
All right. Well, I'm Alonda Robinson first off.
And I am Stephanie Meeks.
Nathan Emerson.
I'm Autumn.
I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Yasin.
I'm Jennifer.
I'm Kyrie.
And you all are all a part of where?
We all impact together no matter what.
That's
I know
right.
that's right. And welcome to our Voice. This is the podcast for the latest in teen and young adult talk on the culture.
We're live from my home at Impact Family Center.
Alright, so last episode we had a pretty much umbrella topic of peace in our community. And this time we're going to kick it off with a simple question of, do you all feel heard in your community?
You said heard or hurt?
Heard, like,
Of course I do.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah. Anybody else agree? Disagree?
Heard in whatever way.
I feel hurt about the pandemic that's going on right now.
About the pandemic.
Yes.
What do you feel heard about? What's your standpoint?
When my family that had health conditions.
Your family had health conditions?
Yes.
What about them? They were bad because of the pandemic, or?
But they fine though.
They're fine?
What if we change that question to, do you feel that your voice matters
Yeah.
in the community? Is
See, that's what I
anyone
was
hearing?
wondering.
That's why we work as a team.
Yeah, I think we work well together. We're gonna keep this flow going. All right, guys, who wants to kick off the first answer to this wonderful question?
Do our voice matter and like towards who? Like to our people or like
To our people and to the
To
authorities, to the politicians, to the
Nah.
leaders?
I don't think so.
Explain
I don't
it.
think so. I don't think it's heard because nothing's being done, and it's like where we be heard at? From where?
I take it as like if you saying being heard from our community, like you can talk to your friends and you can say like let's change something, and that small thing turn into a small organization, just like you were saying with small and big organization. A big organization would take it as, well, we have all these people under our umbrella, so people see that they're trying to do something, versus a smaller organization. And when a smaller organization reaches out, it's like they're reaching out and nobody sees it. So if you saying being heard and being seen, it depends on if you're being noticed first.
Right.
I feel like.
Yeah.
Does that affect your value? Do you feel like you're
It doesn't.
valuable in society?
I wouldn't say it doesn't affect my value because it depends on a person and your mental state to say what you're worth. But I would say it affects how I feel about certain situations, because if I go out and I'm getting stopped by the police or something, I feel like I wouldn't be heard to try to explain my own situation of what I'm in. But if I'm coming to a place where I'm safe, I know that I can take my time and I can feel safe to say what I want to say.
For sure.
I would like to add, I think that I don't feel heard, but that's only on account of I'm in a place where I'm not really supposed to be heard because of the systems put in place against me. But
Why do you say that?
because
You're not supposed to be heard?
yeah, that's just the system we live in, and because we don't like it, that's why we're having talks like this, discussions like this, to promote and move along our righteous pursuit and freedom.
But can I just ask you, when you say you're not supposed to be heard, do you feel that the authorities don't want to hear your voice, that your voice does not matter?
Well, yeah, I think that's the whole thing. They feel like there has to be someone's voice that doesn't matter, but we're trying to prove to them that you're keeping back a lot of voices that can help your progression instead of
Make
us.
their job easier.
Yeah.
Well, there's a huge thing that's going on because of the 2 mass shootings. The Republicans don't want to change gun laws. Do you all believe that there should be some stricter gun laws? Like, the young man in Texas was able to get not 1 but 2 assault rifles within 3 days. Do you think that that should be okay?
No.
But all these voters are saying, and granted, they're Democrats, but they're also Republicans saying that we need stricter gun laws. But nobody's listening because the NRA gives their money to the Republican senators, and they're not gonna do anything to change their money. How do you feel about that?
That's the reason why. It's all because of money. They wouldn't put their money towards us holding this podcast so we can talk about the betterment of a majority. They want it so they can make a quick dime. And there's no money in childcare. There's no money in education.
Or not enough,
Education.
not
There's-
enough.
No, there's no money.
And trust me, they're not making dimes. They're making way more than dimes.
I don't feel like
How you gonna feel it? How you feel
like
it?
They make a lot of hundreds of dollars.
it's a lot to say about it,
Oh,
but
bills and
I
stuff,
wouldn't
right?
say like it's not enough. I just feel like it's not none at all. Like you can walk down certain places and you be like, oh well, this house is abandoned. Like recently, we was trying to go shoot a house and we thought it was abandoned because the board, like
You were trying to record a house,
yeah,
right?
record because of the boarded up windows. We was trying to make a story with the video, and just one person came out to defend the house because it was being remodeled. But like walking down this way, I'll say like the trees and plants is growing all over that one building. And to say that it's not enough, at least you will see like, oh, well, the grass or the trees has been cut down to like make it look presentable. That's why I say I feel like it's nothing being put towards it.
Well, part of what you're saying is about people in our community who don't even make what's called a living wage. They don't make enough money to run the, you gotta twist your camera to who else? Okay, so, the people in our community, a lot of them don't make enough money to handle everything that they need to pay for in their homes. They could barely pay their rent or mortgage. They don't have the kind of furniture or whatever that you might see in another neighborhood. And so when you are living in the midst of lack and you don't have a living wage to get the basic things that you need in your house or to keep your house up. You know, I just live on the other side of the bridge, but almost everybody over there has lawn service. But that's not it. You don't see that much in our community. You might see a few homes that are doing that. So one thing that we don't get is the the money through our jobs, you know, through opportunities like other people get. And part of that is, I don't know if you guys know that in the 60s, when black people really started to move into this area, there was all this industry there and everybody worked. Everybody came home with a paycheck and everybody was taking care of their families. And then those jobs went overseas and they left and they went into other communities. And then what did our black fathers, our black women, even if they were single women, single moms, what did they have to rely on? But one thing that we need to understand is that this orchestration of weapons and drugs is truly orchestrated. So then next thing you see, jobs leave, income leaves, guns, weapons, drugs replace.
See, I feel like, to be honest, there's not a lot of problems with guns because it's the people who got them.
Okay.
And I feel like that's what the law really should be, not really on who's going to get the guns. It's how many guns somebody's going to get. It's really like who's going to get them. Like, have they been checked out, evaluated by
But have you ever thought about how many illegal guns are that just show up on our
Yeah,
streets?
it's the legal ones that's doing all the work.
Yeah, it's illegal.
Illegal ones that's doing all the
So have you ever thought about how they get into our community? Does that ever concern you?
Yeah, I got
I
Yeah,
theories.
that's-
I got theories.
You have theories?
Yeah.
What are
I
your
mean,
theories?
like, I might, I don't know, I might not be right or wrong, but sometimes I feel the police, they probably drop crates of guns off, like at nighttime, nobody see them, like a random street, so they can kind of cause more calamity in the neighborhood, so they can kind of point the fingers at us, but the police are the ones that's kind of causing all this riffraff.
Why do you think that would be happening if that is the case?
It's probably just propaganda, just to feed, you know, the news, like false information and what's really going on, while they can probably be kind of the cause of some of the situations, but.
Does it affect us? Does it affect your friends?
It definitely does affect us, because now, like, you can be real close with somebody that you know, like, you never really done nothing, like, not for shot nobody, you know, like that, but he could probably be on the news for, like, getting accused of shooting at somebody, something like that, all because the police decided to drop a gun off in the neighborhood that, you know, that he would have saw something like that, I don't know.
I want to add something. When I hear that we come from the most impoverished areas of, our community and, these cities, regardless of where they are within the United States, I understand that. But what I don't understand is the misdirection of the black dollar. We spend about $3 billion annually on high fashion, names, Louis Vuitton, whatever it may be, shoes, apparel. We spend that much. That's enough to fuel a small nation. But then we come back to our communities and so much starvation is going on because we're packed so tight in these communities that part of the problem is not just guns, but it's the direction of the stories that the media highlight that makes it seem like a pandemic almost everywhere you go. Yeah, guns are being misused, but guns are being misused everywhere there is a gun.
Exactly.
Because the person that holds the gun has the decision
To do whatever they want
to do whatever he wants to do with it.
hand.
And so you're gonna find that everywhere, unless you take the guns out of the hands of everybody,
People think it's
then
cool
you
with
can't
them.
control it. Not in the way that you want to, but what you can control is the narrative in which you highlight these stories. Hey, there's a guy that's shot down dead because you stepped on the chute. They're not gonna highlight the backstory of everything that led up to that. It's just another guy, another black teen that did all of this stuff. But, it's mass shootings everywhere around the world. There's wars and rumors of wars and things like that that's happening right now. Those are the issues that we need to highlight, and we need to put things in perspectives. And that's one of the key reasons why groups like this is important, so that we can bring everything to a greater understanding about what we need to do and why our camaraderie is so very important.
So going back to you said the confusion with the black dollar. So the question for that I have is, you said about $3 billion, right?
$3 billion. Yes.
On names, fashion, and everything, right?
Yes.
So doesn't that go back to what I said about like being noticed? Because the more name brands that you have, the more names that you have on yourself, the more people notice, and the more things that people will try to get, right?
Yes, but again, while all that is going on, there's no funding for the proper education or the proper, skill set centers or things like that. It's just going into fashion. Of course, no black folks that I know produces anything or manufacture anything, so the money is not going into our hands. The dollar is circulating, but it's not circulating within our community. It's just going out. It's a one-way trip. And therefore, when we ask for help in the community, we're pinned so far behind enemy lines that nobody hears the voice in a place that can come back and help us. And the people that is in front of us, they get the help first, but they don't really need the resources.
How do you feel like that could be changed, or how do you feel like, yeah, how could it be changed?
I think that's a question for everybody.
So
I think that this is battled on two fronts. First point I want to hit, I'm talking about the guns and everything, and then I'll bring it back to the Black Dollar, but we have people who are primary sources as to the, I just want to say conspiracy theories, but the actions of unsaid people putting weapons on the train and leaving the doors of the train cars open that are full of weapons, you know? That's the first thing. Second thing, as far as the Black Dollar goes, I do feel this article or some news story a couple years ago talking about how pretty much the poorest of the poor is going to be eradicated first. To your point, Mr. J, we actually dropped by about 14% in spending last year, which means that the money's disappearing at this point. So, if you're at the bottom of the barrel, but the top of the barrel is getting all the resources, but they don't need it, what's going to happen? Extinction.
Do they understand what that means, extinction?
I don't think it means like an extinction for the whole process of this, like, oppression. They're just gonna cut off the bottom. It's still gonna be a bottom. But
Why
like,
would I need to cut off the bottom when the bottom is self-destructing itself?
I wouldn't say self-destruct. There's a lot of things put in place against us.
Okay, it's a lot of things put in place against us, but what I'm saying is, once I strip you of everything that you have no other choice but to what? Steal, kill, and destroy, right? To get what you need.
Or assimilate.
How are you going to assimilate if the dollar's not on your side?
I just feel like if he's saying like, if we're not coming together to try to like better everything, that's all we're doing is kill, stealing, and destroying ourselves.
I'm saying once you don't have any money,
right? Like,
what is the likelihood of you going to steal, kill, destroy?
I mean, like
it's just raising the stakes,
right?
So I'm agreeing to what you're saying.
No,
What
I
are you
understand.
saying, what should we be doing?
I think that we need more employment in the community with better minimum wage.
Not just minimum wage.
Well, better than
a living wage
yeah.
is not minimum wage.
Well, I'll say better than minimum wage because I mean, look at the price of gas. It's like $6 now.
And have you all noticed, seriously, I've been taking pictures of gas stations, and I just keep doing it. Our gas is like in California, but it's in our neighborhood. But I live in the neighborhood next door, and my gas is cheaper.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, bro. I went to Orland Park yesterday. That joker said $5.49. You go over here on 111th and Marshfield, Ashland. It's $6.07. Unleaded.
Why
So there's
is
a
it
thing
more
called gas
in our-
tax.
Yeah.
That's not Shell gas. What I'm paying $6 for.
That's
Even
pretty
the
high
Shell.
though,
Watch
too.
this. The Shell out in Orland was $5.49.
But it
The
also,
Shell in Palos Hills is $5.32.
but it all depends on the gas station you go to though. The one that's literally, I understand the gas out here is like $6, or like almost near $6.20. But also, if you go in a different part of the community, like
Well, why I
Portage
gotta go
Park,
to my community, because I gotta go to Indiana to pay $5. Why should I have to go all the way out to my community to do that? Why can't I go somewhere affordable living?
I think it's about
The point is, the poor and the working class is forced to eat the cost.
Yes.
Like we always forced to eat the cost.
Come on, Mr. J.
And so,
convenience.
it's not just convenience, it's a
I
concentrated
disagree.
effort. When there's a fluctuations in prices and it's one thing for us, and it's something for somebody else in another demographic or another tax bracket, we're eating the cost, as we always do.
I mean,
I ain't trying to
Do
cut
you
you.
all hear
I'm not
that?
trying to cut
Do
you
you
off.
all understand it?
Let me give you an example. I'm supporting this point. Let me give you an example. So prime example, when they introduced, what is it, the plastic bag tax. And I'm not even gonna say going on, we getting taxed and stuff right now. I'm gonna give you a physical example. Politically correct.
Yeah, come on.
The other side, guess what they did? Instead of using plastic bags, now what they use? Paper bags to eliminate the plastic bag tax.
Right.
Has anybody else around this neighborhood done that? You still get a plastic bag from Aldi, right?
Not all the
not
time,
all-
though.
Not all the time. Not all the time.
Depending
I'm saying the organization. Watch what we say about resources. What we're saying is that the organization fixated itself to counter the plastic bag tax in another community where they could actually afford a plastic bag tax, where, you know, everybody can't afford a plastic bag tax. The organizations, the state, the county, nobody lifted that or found a workaround around it, right? That's what I'm saying.
See, I feel like
The sales tax here is 11.5% now.
Okay, but what are the solutions to the issues of lack of peace in our community? Whatever those issues are that you consider inhibits us from having our peace. What's the solution? I know what they are, but what's the solution? Say what it is, and then what's the solution? Let me let Yassine and Nate finish.
Okay, I was gonna say, even like if you want to say lack of foods, well, you can always take matters in your own hands, learn how to grow your own food. If you want to talk about lack of businesses, pull grants, get in part of programs like this where people can actually help you get your own storefront and start resourcing your own community, whether it's clothes, food, anything, any service, lawn care service, any service that you need, you can really make it in your community. We don't have to wait on somebody to come do it for you. You can just use your money, like we said, even if it's lack of money, it's what you do with your money. People still spend their money stupidly, so you still can put your money in.
So how do we fix that? That's what I want to
That's
know.
what I'm saying,
People are
you can-
not spending their money wisely. How do we fix that? But the bigger thing that you all still have to understand, Alonda was helping me to send a letter to the mayor.
Right.
The reason that I think a letter to the mayor is necessary is because I think that they don't pay attention to the smaller organizations and what we do.
For sure.
That's why a letter to the mayor is necessary, and because the system that they have me waiting on reimbursements for months at a time.
We gonna get in their face though.
And that's crazy. How we gonna get in their face? We need to
We
do
gonna get in
that.
their face.
But you all need to understand that also when we talk about the jobs, we need more jobs. We need jobs that are paying more than minimum wage. But how do we make that happen? How many people 18 and over are registered to vote in this room? How many people know that you need to be voting on June 28th for the 1st Congressional District? Okay, so you should be voting for the person who will be on the people who will be on the ballot to replace Congressman Bobby Rush. And if you don't know that, you need to vote. I just had a conversation about this in my car. You all have to understand that it's about voting. It's about your videos and your letters that you send to the powers that be. It's not just the mayor, but all of the various people. You know, this program is important to Senator Emil Jones, and Senator Emil Jones has come and sat with us. And he has listened to us. You know, but you gotta say, Miss Marsha, where are we getting our funding from? Why don't we have funding from the state? And I'll tell you, it's because I wrote a very public letter to Governor Rauner in 2014. And the former Governor Rauner, and they are still holding that against us. But they don't even realize it. Yet a whole bunch of people have given lip service that they're going to get that removed. And it's crazy stuff like that that I tell you all that we have to stand together on. The videos and the things that are saying, here we are, this is what we're doing. And those of you who've been in the program for years, like a Jeremiah and an Ashley, you know that we're going to be open, what is I saying? Impact, no matter what. We're going to be open no matter what. But we're open on Marsha's dime right now.
We're not going to give up no matter what.
No, we're not. But we're on Marsha's dime. It's costing me thousands of dollars to keep this program running. But your voice is needed to fight with me.
For sure.
And to fight for us. Were you about to say something, darling?
I was just gonna ask a question because you said whichever senator supports y'all, even though it's on y'all dime, if so many senators support their community, why aren't they sponsoring the after school or the programs that y'all doing now if they support it so much?
Well, thankfully,
Because,
UP Center did pull us in on this one, but I understand what you're saying, it should be more.
Well, that's what I'm saying, it's like, I was agreeing with him, like, why are we still waiting for other people to do? I mean, if we really gonna get out here and do it, then why can't we ask for it ourselves? If it's y'all's program, y'all should be taking it into, everybody should be taking it into y'all's hands, because it's y'all's program. It's not, it's never been a government job, because they ain't make this program, it's y'all job to do that.
But they do have legislation that is supposed to be earmarked for youth programming, for after-school program. And the issue that I have is that those earmarks don't always happen the way they're supposed to. Just like we got stuff hemmed up, you know, with the city of Chicago for our reimbursements. I bet you if an alderman calls or a senator calls and says, I need that money to be released to Impact Family Center, it would happen. But Marsha's the only one calling. And it's not happening. We've been waiting for January, even though it got mixed up a little bit. It's June now. We waiting on March. But we don't get enough because they concentrate the money. When Mayor Rahm Emanuel was in office, he made up this thing where all the money was going to go to the larger organizations. So if you didn't have $1 million plus budget, you weren't getting any money. And you have to rely on great relationships with, like the Youth Peace Center, the Wendy Rogers Jones, to say pull you in, or Phalanx will pull us in. But why is it necessary to give all the money to a large organization? I just explained this when the city of Chicago had this urgent meeting when the young person was shot down in Millennium Park. The question that they asked was, why do they all have to come downtown? I said, what's beautiful in their neighborhoods?
Right.
Can we see some ducks on the water? Can we go paddle boating? Can we walk along a lakefront? We can't even walk around the Calumet River really, unless you find just maybe a couple of little spaces. So what do we really have? I want a big, gorgeous, man-made river in some of these vacant, big areas with ponds so y'all can fish, so we can have some paddle boats, so we can freeze, and we can learn how to ice skate. I have to go to Mount Greenwood if I want to ice skate, and they look at me like I'm crazy, even though that's my ward that I live in.
And I think that, you know, one of the greatest things that you will ever be able to get to peace to is with education. I'm going to be honest, I'm almost 27 years old. And frankly, if you want to be very honest, if we want to go legislative and politic-wise, I don't know what my state representative does. I don't know what my congressperson does. I don't know what this circuit court person does. I don't know what any of these, I'm just saying as far as any of these departments, I'm saying, for us coming up, we don't know what they do, so when it comes to voting, it's not, so going off of Kilroy Watkins, one of the wrongfully convicted under John Burge that we've been working with, one of his quotes was that, you know, with marginalized people, unfortunately, black people are marginalized on two fronts, politically, financially. I can get into the other two that I believe, but I'm gonna focus on these right now. When you don't understand how those systems work, we don't have political science in high school the way Bob, Sally, Susie, Paul might have it. We don't have economics. We don't have agricultural curriculums in our programs and stuff coming up in high school like they do. I'm gonna be honest and go to elementary school. Does anybody know that it is a Illinois state standard for y'all to be taught financial literacy from kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade? Anybody know that?
For real?
It's not mandated, which is how they get away with it. So you got to understand loopholes. Fortunately, graduated from the University of Illinois, I do understand law a little bit better than what I did now, and understanding the loopholes and the systems as to how things are not in our favor as a people, systemically and institutionally. So it's just a thing of, I believe, the education piece. But now, at the same time, now after this, within this pandemic, you have a plethora of different issues hitting the minds of these young people, to the point that even as I'm an education worker, I can't reach these kids because they gotta focus on, okay, I gotta worry about mama, baby sister, baby brother, they gotta eat, we ain't got no food in the crib, we don't have any money. What am I gonna do? Even if I do get something to eat, I'm probably not gonna eat. Now I gotta go hungry. That's not good for the mind.
For sure.
So how am I gonna reach them to educate them? I mean, frankly, to be honest, I feel like Dr. King and everybody, y'all had education coming up and nothing else.
So what are some of the solutions to what we're bringing up?
I think we need more like black-owned schools where they teaching kids more trades and skills compared to just formal education where you can learn like a real skill in the real world. So
Like private school.
yeah, like prepping school. So after you like graduate from middle school or high school, you can like leave knowing a little something about the world that can possibly help build your community.
I feel like they need more home shelters for the homeless people or the people that's less fortunate, so they have a place to stay and live.
Exactly.
We need schools that teaching kids more about like construction, masonry,
And
learning how to.
Skills. They took home ec and all those things out of a lot of the schools. Auto shop. When I came up,
It gets teaching about life skills and other classes and stuff.
Right.
But if you look at
Wait one
Oakland
second,
Community High School today, they still have all that. They still have, what did you say,
Home
shop,
ec and
auto shop.
They have it in other
Look,
communities.
if y'all ever been on the east side, CVS, Chicago Vocational School, it's huge for a reason.
Yes.
They had a cosmetology department, they had
aviation
shop, they had aviation.
Yeah, but not anymore.
I think they even had like a custodial program and stuff.
Let me interject,
Jeremiah next.
I just want to interject because this is important.
Jeremiah's next.
I just got to throw this out here to sort of put everything back on track. When we talk about solutions, my father, my grandfather, they fought in the civil rights, for civil rights. Today is incumbent upon you guys to fight the biggest monster the world has ever seen, which is social media and the way that you're being portrayed. The solution is to understand that we as ethnic people, we represent 13% of the nation. 13%, and those numbers are even dwindling now. And so you have to prepare yourself to compete on the world stage. What is the world stage? The world stage is we need to have distribution. We need to have manufacturing. We need to have companies that cater to us, that's for us, and that's by us. If we fail to do that and continue to fail to do that, we'll continue to be in places like this saying, what should we do? We cannot allow the bar to be set at let's just get a job and live our life. We have to dream big. We have to begin to enter into the world stage. We as African people, we have produced the largest number of geniuses the world has ever seen. We have invented everything that you see. We can look out the door and we see things that Africans, descendants of Africans, have produced, inventions. Then why are we still here in these impoverished communities saying we need help? That's because we are being blotted out and kept from the world scene. And a lot of us are saying that's okay, we just want to earn enough just to be comfortable. We just want to eat because we're hungry. You have to push past that. You have to push past that and say, I want to invent something, or I want to do something, or produce something where they're shipping from Hong Kong for my stuff, or my candles, or my oils. We have to go global. Because everything that I pick up says made in China, made in Taiwan, made in this place, that place, but it's nothing that's for us. That is the solution, is to do what's necessary to get to the world scene.
Growing up, I never even knew what mental health was until I started going through stuff. I never knew what peace was until I didn't have it no more. Like, you just don't know certain things. Like, certain people, they think they have peace, but they don't have peace. You being angry all the time, that's not peace. People don't, I would say people not broadcasted to a lot of stuff as far as like the black community. I know people that, I got friends that never been to Six Flags. I got friends that never even been downtown. And I've been to Six Flags over like 6 times. I've been in downtown more than I can count. Like, their parents just don't teach them to do better. They don't love them. They don't show them love and affection. And kids need that growing up. You need to know that somebody on your side when you coming up.
You're here. All of you are here. Can you think of about 5 or 6 friends who should be here? Who should be growing? Who should be learning?
Yeah. Yeah. I think there should be laws put in place to, I guess, towards equity on black people and brown people and, I guess, people of color. And, like, I think there should be laws put in place where every school, like, there should be an after-school program where they get fed, they get some type of clothing, just to alleviate some of the stress of, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna eat when I get home, so I'm gonna go do this instead of my homework, or something that could help me eat along the line, you know?
But do you know that you can start demanding legislation like that through talking to your elected officials? You can do what he's saying, lobby, which is to get out there and really make your cause known. You know, you can speak up, you can write letters, you can do any number of things, but you've got to vote. And they've got to know that you all realize that you have the power. Vote them in office or vote them out of office. I had a conversation with you about all these people who are running for one seat. You got to get to know who's running. That's why, you know, I have that skill. But I'm going to investigate you because I don't trust you until I know what you're really going to bring to the table and who's paying you. Who's paying you off? It's not just who's paying you. Who's paying you off to do some things that you're doing or not doing?
I'll tell y'all this from personal example.
No?
Wait a second. Were you finished?
Yeah,
I'm just saying, with voting, if they ain't got the track record, what you said, why you vote them in?
Right.
Oh, I'm gonna do. No. What have you done?
Or sitting at home. How many people 18 and over have voted?
You saying in general?
In general, have you voted?
but wait,
Only
I
for
think that
Obama. That's the only
I haven't voted so far because I don't truly believe in the system that the people that I'm voting for represent. So I'm trying to fight for, my conflict is more than just who's gonna be in this chair. It's who's gonna fix these whack laws that these old people in white wigs made a long time ago, so that the people in their future, not our future, can benefit off of it. And so they can benefit, there has to be someone at the bottom. But I'm trying to tell them that it doesn't have to be like that.
That's why I was gonna ask y'all, like, what do y'all think would be like ways to get in their face to get programs like this known?
You saying to have a seat at the table.
To have a seat at the table, or just to be acknowledged, like,
I mean,
to go back to the beginning.
Because we can always burn the table.
Blackness is not the answers for everything.
But
Like,
But it's to be able to drop everything to equal level.
but that doesn't mean burn.
I don't think, I've never said violence is the answer
Right.
because we always had to talk about this in physics and there was always somebody saying something like that. I just feel like it's persistence, it's not violence, it's not, I mean, yeah, you can be persistent with letters, but if they're not getting answered, then you ain't gonna never get a letter back.
And what
You
how they
gotta
know what
force
you
the
do?
point.
If you up to the corner,
If
you
nobody
ain't
know, if you aren't in their face all the time, if you're not making an effort all the time, like you see examples in movies where they be in their face, they go to their place of work, they do any and everything, they don't care how many times it takes them to do any and everything they can to get in their face until they finally say, okay, what do you want and why do you keep following me? Then you make sure, and if you shouldn't have to think about what do you want, you should already know. It shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes to tell them what you already know when you get to that point. So the point is, like she said, I do agree, like, it's not all about getting a job and being comfortable, but when you do get to that place, don't forget where you do come from. Don't forget to see that. Because black people, There are a lot of black people that are lazy, but at the same time, I just feel like once you get up there, you still need to remember where you come from. Like, you still need to remember there are other people that you can help. So just because I become a politician don't mean I'm going to stay up here with my head in the clouds. Like, I'm still going to go and do other, give me ideas from my community so that I can work on these things and at least try to. But that's why you have to be persistent, because if you're not going to be persistent, it's never going to work. And we're going to, like you said, keep sitting here and we're going to keep talking about what are we going to do about it.
What's your name?
Elise.
Elise. Let's go off of that point. George Floyd. Everything that happened. 1 second. Everything that happened here and across other cities with the riots, right?
Right.
Where was burning down City Hall, burning your alderman's office down? That's what's going to make them wake up. What did we decide to do? We decided to go damage our own neighborhoods, and we still trying to recover from that, huh?
No, everybody did. You know, a lot of people really did look at that. This is the way to come up. So we just gonna go take out the computers.
But like at the same time, it was
This is the
kind
thing
of
that you said?
at the same time, I don't think it solved anything, because I feel like it really is, like,
Right.
it wrecked
Looting
more than what we,
protest.
Looting is a form of protest. When does the protest become the solution? So what I'm saying is that you got to understand, if you're going to bring it to the man, I'm going to come to your front door. Just like the Klan used to do with us. I'm going to come to your front door. And my cross that's going to be burning is your office building.
But this right here, he's a big guy. But this right here is one of the best tools you have. But y'all get on there and do dumb mess on TikTok. What he just did. The reason I sent the mayor a video from my YouTube page, right now it's private. But when she gives me the reason to make it public, it will be public. Same thing with University of Chicago and medical gaslighting in the black community. It came from my personal YouTube page right now. But it's about to go public. And it's going to go public in a big way. And that's your tool. Your tool is making sure that people know that we're building an urban garden. And it's not some little homemakers from the suburbs building this little garden. This is some black young men and some black young women who are building this garden, and they don't want to do it any old kind of way. They wake up at 6 in the morning and say, I think we need this nice basket, Miss Marsha. That costs too much and we can't afford it. But because it's in his heart to do, we're doing it. We've got to make our voices known, and this program, the Impact Our Voice, is an excellent way to do that. It's an excellent way to do that. And telling our stories to others, which I talked to you about. That's another way to do it.
And like our fundraisers that we're gonna start up, and clean up days, you know, clean up some of these blocks out here just looking raggedy.
And talking to people who have money who care.
And for sure, but I feel like everybody drive down these streets, so at the end of the day, you start, like you said, persistence. The more you see that Impact Family Center shirt, and you see, okay, what they about, what they doing in the community, they doing fundraisers, they clean up this block, they giving out baskets of food to people in need. When they start seeing that and the persistence that we coming with, then it's gonna be people gonna be like, oh, I heard of this. I never heard of this community situation. I heard of Impact Family.
But that's not where you're going to get your money.
What I want to add on.
Jaleisha wants to ask us.
What I want to say is like what kind of you see say is like clean up, like sweep under the block, is that like recycle, redo?
Tell them, G.
Exactly. Exactly.
Redo something. I forgot the last one.
It's okay.
Y'all want to add on to that?
Think about it.
I feel just like we need to be more consistent as well with like programs like this that we're in. Like we need to do this like consistently every year. Like just don't shouldn't give up just because 1 year we're not bringing in a certain amount of students and we feel as if like not a lot of people are participating. Like you can't just give up. You gotta keep trying, like on and on.
Have you ever seen us give up?
Nope.